Now, Nandos is one of South Africa's biggest fast food outlets with a presence in about 20 countries around the world. Apart from its food, the brand has become known for its bold and sometimes controversial socio-political commentary. It's a marketing strategy of theirs. However, its decision to sponsor Gareth Cliff's Central podcast, The Burning Platform, has backfired. This after Cliff dismissed the racist experiences of a black woman as unimportant during a debate on the local government elections. Now, the clip of the exchange was circulated on social media wildly, and it led to calls for Cliff to be censored and Nandos to act. Nandos' initial response was that they take freedom of expression seriously, but do not and will never invalidate anyone's experience or condone racism, and that the matter was under review, but they terminated their sponsorship of the platform on Saturday afternoon. Now, given the history of allegations of racism leveled against Gareth Cliff, it was short-sighted and damaging to Nandos' brand reputation to enter the sponsorship agreement in the first place. Well, that's what we're going to find out if it was. To tell us more about this, we're joined by the founder and the CEO of DonValley Reputation Managers, Solly Moeng. Solly, very good morning to you. Thank you for your time. You would think that Nandos, we know that they are a bold and daring company when it comes to their marketing strategy, but you'd think that they would select who they decide to associate themselves with a bit more carefully.
Good morning, Whitley, to your audience out there. I wouldn't ask the question in the way that you do. You know, I really like the way you describe Nandos. It's bold, it says things that are controversial, it pushes the boundaries, and all interesting boundaries, brands push boundaries, but you must push your boundaries with a plan. You must be able to say, well, I'm doing this because of this. You must also be prepared of what could be thrown into your face. I think that this was a business decision on the part of Nandos. To be honest, you know, so whoever chose that part of the clip out of an hour's discussion was smart and maybe naughty or mischievous. You know, the fact of the matter is that in local government elections, the issues that people should be looking for is service delivery. You're talking about blackouts. You're talking about corruption. You're talking about municipalities not being able to do the things that they must do. But then again, Gareth Cliff, it's a bit like Helen Zille. He's not racist. I've spoken to people who know him, and I've dealt with this man. I've dealt with Helen Zille. They're not racist. They're just bold, white people. And in South Africa, we don't have space for bold, white people. He was wrong to speak overhead, no doubt about it. He shouldn't have had this particular, but there are other parts of the clip where this lady is not allowed to say what she says. But when you're going to go into a discussion with Gareth Cliff or Helen Zille, you must be prepared for that kind of boisterousness.
Absolutely. Is it wise, though, for for Nandos to have this strategy? It seems to have worked for them in the past.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Actually, I was asking myself, have they changed maybe brand managers? Is it the same people or is it different? Because it could be that the person who's now heading brand at Nandos is more of a coward. I'm sorry, okay? The thing is, in South Africa, we need bold, strong, fast, straightforward conversations. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a South Africa where white people are afraid to say things because, oh, you white, you can't speak. No, shut up. It's a cancel culture. We can't allow that to happen. I think that Nandos should have said, well, we support freedom of speech. This dude, maybe they needed a moderator for this particular discussion. They should have allowed somebody to say, no, you speak, you keep quiet, you speak, you keep quiet. Let's have this conversation, but let's talk also about the issues. What should South Africans be looking for ahead of local government elections? Now, this whole thing, this whole short clip of a 1 hour discussion is going to turn the whole thing into a race thing. Well, whether you like it or not, local government elections are about racism. It's true. I'm a black dude. It's not. They are about service delivery, all right? And this dude said it. The thing is Gareth Cliff. Gareth Cliff is like that, okay? If you, as I said earlier, if you're going to go into a discussion with this man or with a Helen Zille, you're going to be faced up front like that. And if you can't stand it, you can't stand that kind of heat, don't go into that office. But to cancel this man because because he's being himself, I think it's a bit mischievous.
I mean, you can be yourself, Solly, but it shouldn't be damaging towards anyone in any shape or form. Essentially, we've seen cancel culture. Yes, it is something that is a problem, but in this case, and I understand you speak of just that clip, but in this case, that clip is the lived experiences of not only that woman. And the woman, by the way, does have a name, but she's a mouthpiece essentially in this situation.
Right. Yeah, look, no. That's why I'm saying they probably needed a moderator for this discussion. Gareth Cliff can come out as very strong, aggressive, but racist he's not, all right? The speaker, the lady, should have been allowed to express her views even though they disagreed with her, they should have said, but, what about this? What about the context of local government elections? She was expressing her views. It's true. I mean, in the same way that if a Jewish person comes on board and talks about the pain of Holocaust and, people who've lost in the family, the pain that continues, you can't dismiss that kind of thing. It's really hard to dismiss that kind of thing because actually, especially if you have not been on the receiving side of racism, what we lack is empathy in South Africa. I know maybe Gareth Cliff didn't show sufficient empathy towards this lady, and that is a problem. But he is not racist. I think that to judge this whole man on the basis of the kind of person that he is maybe missing an opportunity.
Speaking on Gareth Cliff, now, obviously there are people who will be privy and have access to the man outside of his professional career, and he might be a completely different person. But as a brand, somebody that's focused on brand specifically, you'd understand that that isn't always what the general public will be looking at, because Gareth Cliff, like it or not, he has been marred in controversy before. So how smart of a decision was this by Nandos?
It wasn't a smart decision. I think, as I say, they probably changed the marketing or brand managers. Whoever was there before is probably not there. I'd be surprised if it was the same person who started this boisterousness on the part of Nandos, the brand. Maybe it's whoever is taking over that position is like, oh, wait a minute, this is a bit, you know what I'm saying? It could be that. I'm wrong, I could be wrong, it could be that. What I'm saying is Nandos could have stood by this man and said, but we have to allow people to speak. You have to show empathy to it. We know this is who you are, but you should have given her the space. Let's work this out. But for them to just walk away from this, it says a lot about Nandos, the brand. Let's see what else they're going to walk away from. Are they going to continue being boisterous in the future, or are we going to see a different Nandos brand coming out? This is also quite interesting to watch going forward.
Absolutely. What do you think it says, though, about the brand? Because it would have been very difficult for them not to, I think, walk away from this, especially the backlash from the general public. Obviously, social media is just a microcosm of South Africa. We can't take that as, everyone, but it does matter.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love this question, Whitley. There are points when a brand, such as Nandos, gets to a point where it must decide whether it keeps marching forward or it pulls back into a hole, all right? Nandos is known as a brand that says things that other brands are afraid of. It's known for its boisterousness. Nobody can deny that. This was an opportunity for it to say, but, this is the kind of debate we want, except that there should be space given to other people. So what it says about Nandos is that it's becoming a bit cowardly here. It's a pity that it didn't defend the right of all these opinions to be aired. It didn't go into the entire clip and say, okay, this was what the discussion was about. This man was a bit aggressive, maybe even lacking of empathy in this particular part of the clip. That's why this is the part of the clip that is shown in the entire hour's discussion, because that's where maybe the discussion got heated, and of course it did, and somebody said, this is going to be quite interesting in South Africa. So, race is a fault line for South Africans. You say racist in a room full of South Africans, you're going to have a stampede. This is what it is. So Nandos, the brand, should have seen this coming. That's why I'm saying when you push borders as a frontiers, as a brand, you must have a plan. You can't just push a frontier and expect nothing to be thrown at you without a plan. Then you're going to run back into the hole. You must go, okay, this is happening, and this is what we're known for. How do we defend it? But they chose not to defend it for business reasons, of course. I've seen other responses from people saying, we're not buying Nandos chicken anymore, we're tired of this, how can they support this man, etc., etc. So whoever is managing brand at Nandos decided, okay, we can't do this anymore, which is a pity.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that the fear of people boycotting them probably was the leading cause for that decision. I've got the bite. I want us to play it quickly,
Sure.
and then we can continue this conversation. Let's quickly take a listen to it.
Okay.
I'm sure that there are 100,000 people who are going to sleep tonight worrying about where their next meal's coming from, and about 5 people who are worried about the hideous racism that's out there.
Oh,
anyway,
I think that's I'm sorry, I must interject at that point.
Let's see if it gets tested. I don't think that many people are interested. In fact, the IRR has shown us endless reports of people who say that racism is at the bottom of their list of priorities and concerns. Their biggest priority.
You obviously don't experience the kind of racism that I experience on a daily basis. So to say that's something that no one cares about, I'm sorry.
No,
that's really,
your personal
really
experience.
aggressive.
Your personal experience is completely anecdotal and unimportant to all of us.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that you think that the experience of a black woman in this country is
Yes,
unimportant and irrelevant.
I'm not interested, Mudzuli, I'm not interested in identity politics at all. Nobody really is. They're only interested in themselves, what they can get out of this. The elections are coming up. If you
and service delivery.
Please, it's just, I'm over it. It's so uninteresting. And this has played out so badly for people in other parts of the world where they've tried it. I can't believe you're going down this track.
No, Gareth, we're not speaking about identity politics. We were literally speaking. Okay, you can proceed with your conversation then. Please proceed.
No, I want you to finish. I want you to at least explain.
You don't want me to finish because you're speaking over me. I'm just trying to, this is not about sucking us into a conversation about race, politics, and identity politics. We were having a conversation to say that the issues of service delivery are not as important as the issues that people genuinely feel when they feel like they're being racist. And what I'm saying to you is don't.
In a municipal election, they just aren't.
All right. So what do you make of that, Muzuli Rikavane's racial, experiences? Essentially, he's even saying that it's just unimportant, and for us at the moment, we don't really care.
Yeah, both of them are correct and incorrect. Muzuli says, my experience of racism, my daily experience. I'm not sure what kind of daily experience of racism she's experiencing in South Africa. It could be a hyperbole, but racism is existent. It lives in South Africa. It is still there. But racism comes from all sides. It's not just black people, okay? But he should have allowed her the space to say what she wanted to say. He was wrong to do that. Because she was expressing her experience of racism, but she's also pushing a bit. I mean, come on, do you experience racism every day in modern day South Africa? Maybe you exist from time to time. Somebody gives a bed to in a restaurant or in a place. You can't say every day. I don't know. Show me one person. Unless people working in farms or I don't know, in some places where it's really harsh. Okay, point I'm making is that she was expressing her pain of racism, which nobody should dismiss in the bigger context of things. But he was also wrong to say nobody cares about racism, because if taken out of context, their statements seem a bit bizarre. Okay, he was wrong to say nobody cares, because we do care about racism. Racism is what brought South Africa to where it's at in a lot of ways. But in the context of local government election discussion, South Africans should not be looking for what racist was, because they could say, okay, the ANC is not racist, let's vote for the ANC. But no, they should look at whether services are being delivered. They should look at whether resources are not being stolen. They should look at whether people are hungry. Schools have the equipment they need. Students have what they need, etc. Those are the things that people should be looking at, not racism. I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. I'm saying context does matter.
We'll get back to Nandos in a bit. I want to talk now about what you're saying about, inner local government elections. Racism shouldn't really be at the forefront. Now, this was in a conversation where DA's leader, John Steenhuisen, is there. We know the DA were marred in a scandal recently because of those Phoenix posters, essentially using racism as a tool for politicking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I spoke about amply about the DA. I think it was wrong to go in that discussion in Phoenix. It was wrong to say, I even said it before they put off the plugs on the posters, that they were wrong to go and say to those people, you are the heroes, in a context where a whole number of black people were killed by Indian people, because Phoenix is an Indian place. I still don't believe that those Indian people said, let's shoot at black people. I don't think that.
So let's bring it back to this situation. How is this then different or exempt from even being marred by that's happened in Phoenix as well?
So I don't understand the question.
So how is this situation different? Yeah.
Look, the thing is, it's easy in South Africa to take a headline, as to take a sentence out of stuff and then create. The DA is seen by many people, correctly or incorrectly, as racist. And when it goes into that kind of debate, it needs to know that people, as a brand, you need to know what the world is saying about you. First of all, any brand, you need to know what the world is thinking about you, so that when you engage, you have those things at the back of your mind and you respond to them accordingly, properly. So when the DA goes into that kind of discussion, no wonder Steenhuisen was very quiet in that part of the clip, because we probably didn't know what to say, or maybe his advisors told him not to say anything. But as I say, if you take all of these things out of context, nobody is very wrong. But the thing is, if you put them into context, race in South Africa creates this kind of thing that we're discussing about today, Butle. All right? Nobody can run away from that. But I'm saying the debate should have been moderated. They should have had a proper discussion. But also...
But Gareth Cliff is supposed to be that moderator. That's why he's there. He's the host of that show. Let's talk about Nandos' reputation and all of this. Had they decided maybe to back Gareth Cliff in this, because they have that option. Had they decided to back Gareth Cliff in this, what do you think that would have done for their reputation? And also, it's a two-pronged question, what do you make of South Africa's general response on this, if you feel so strongly about it?
Well, look, it's not just Becky. Nandos would have been wrong to say, oh, no, leave Gareth Cliff alone, we support him. No, they would have been wrong. They would have been hanged for that as well. I think that's what I'm saying. When you push frontiers as a brand, you must have a plan. You must explain why you're doing it. In this case, Nandos chose not to even explain this. They decided, you know what, this is the kind of debate that we don't want to be part of today, so we're going to walk away. That is what they did. And they're right to do. I mean, it's in their right, rather, to do that. They could either say, no, but this is who we are. But this guy should have done this thing slightly differently in this area. But okay, brands use influencers all the time. And Gareth Cliff is an influential person, whether we like it or not. And this brand has been associating with him for 5 years. Let's look at what else Gareth Cliff has been accused of over the 5-year period when he was associated with Nandos. It's just at this time they got to a point where, especially we get into elections and there was a race thing, black women. You don't touch black women in South Africa, okay? Because there are real issues that do affect black women, GBV and stuff. So the minute you confront a black woman like that, you're going to be in trouble. So Nandos decided that out of all the battles it must fight, this is not the one it's going to fight. But it doesn't mean that Nandos is correct. It means that it didn't have the effort and the energy to spend on this battle.
So Moeng, thank you for entertaining us this morning, for your time. That's the founder and CEO of DonValley Reputation Managers, just unpacking this whole Cliff Nandos saga.